Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence remembering our troops overseas. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please sit.
Notice requirements of the Open Public Meeting Law have been satisfied concerning this meeting. The annual notice was published in the Home News Tribune and the Star Ledger on December 20th, 2019. It was posted on the municipal bulletin board and should be so noted in the minutes of this meeting. Councilman Spiller. Here. Councilman Ficarra. Here. Councilwoman Meehan. Here. Councilwoman Drum. Councilman Patel. Here. Councilman Anderson. Here. Councilman Bauer. Here. Vice President Small. Here. And President De Jesus.
Here.
Can I get a motion to approve the reorganizational council meeting minutes from January 1st?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions or comments from council? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Beginning with second reading ordinances this evening, we're going to take by consent, starting with letters A, B, C, and D. Just bear with me, please. A is a bond ordinance to authorize the making of various public improvements, the acquisition of new additional replacement equipment and machinery in the amount of $11,655,000. B is a bond ordinance to authorize the making of various sanitary sewer improvements in the amount of $2,600,000. C is a bond ordinance to authorize the making of various public improvements, including new automotive vehicles, in the amount of $1,925,000. And letter D is a bond ordinance to acquire property in the amount of $775,000. That said, can I get a motion on A, B, C, and D that the public hearing be open and taken up on second and third reading?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions or comments from council? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. The public hearing is now open on letters A, B, C, and D, A, B, C, and D only. Hearing no comment from the public, can I get a motion that the public hearing be closed, the ordinance be adopted and submitted to the mayor for approval as required by law?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions or comments from council? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Letters E, F, G, and H also take by consent. These are amendments to Chapter 7, which is the traffic and parking ordinances. The first is to delete handicap parking on William Street, east side. Second is to add 14 Wisteria Drive to handicap parking. The third is to add and delete various parking spaces in the township of Woodbridge. And letter H is also an amendment for bus stops, and this is to add one on Inman Avenue in the Colonia section. Can I get a motion that these ordinances be taken up on second and third reading and the public hearing be open?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions or comments from council? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. The public hearing is now open on E, F, G, and H. E, F, G, and H only. Hearing no comment from the public, can I get a motion that the public hearing be closed, the ordinance be adopted and submitted to the mayor for approval as required by law?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Take letter I, which is ordinance authorizing directing a title and possession of real property located at 106 Main Street be acquired. Can I get a motion that letter I be taken up on second and third reading and a public hearing be open?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions or comments from council? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. The public hearing is now open on letter I only. Hearing no comment from the public, can I get a motion that the public hearing be closed, the ordinance be adopted and submitted to the mayor for approval as required by law?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Letter J is ordinance to vacate and extinguish the public right-of-way on a partial of Creskill Avenue in the Avenel section. Can I get a motion that this ordinance be taken up on second and third reading and the public hearing be open?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions or comments from council? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. The public hearing is now open on letter J only. Hearing no comment from the public, can I get a motion that the ordinance, the public hearing be closed, the ordinance be adopted and submitted to the mayor for approval as required by law?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. First reading ordinances, letters K, L, M, and N. Can I get a motion that these ordinances be passed by consent on first reading, published in the Home News Tribune on January 24th, 2020, with notice of public hearing to be held on February 4th, 2020 at 7 p.m.?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions or comments from council? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Resolutions listed before you. First comment is pull number 18. Please, I'll be pulling that from the agenda. And also 29 is an add-on, and that's a transfer I shared with you late this afternoon. With that said, can I get a motion by consent to approve resolutions 1 through 29, excluding 18?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
We will now move to the public portion of the meeting. Please approach the microphone if you like. State the area of the township you live in, your name, and there is a one-time 5-minute time period.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jimmy Kudrowski. I'm a lifelong resident of Woodbridge Township. I grew up right there down Row Ave on Burnett Street in the Avenel section where my parents still live now. I currently live in Woodbridge proper. I wish that skate park they were doing by my old house was there when I was a kid because I would have had a blast. Now I'd probably just have another herniated disc in my back. So I'll just watch for now if my 7-year-old son ever becomes interested in getting a little more brave with his bike and scooter. I'm here tonight because last month I read an NJ.com article entitled, "Diverse Town is the first to oppose the detention of immigrants. More may follow." After reading this inspiring article, I immediately reached out to the mayor of that caring town of Montgomery Township, Sadat Jaffer, who quickly put me in contact with the amazing woman who started this powerful initiative, Afshin Shamsi, who among many other roles serves on the board of the American Civil Liberties Union of New Jersey. I obtained a copy of the compassionate resolution passed by Montgomery Township calling on our elected officials at all levels to reunify migrant families who have been horrifically separated due to our current administration's evil and unforgivable zero-tolerance policy. It calls for the release of their release from detention and to afford them due process in immigration proceedings. I shared it with a few immigrants' rights advocates, and they told me such a symbolic resolution is really the bare minimum we can do, and that passing it should be a no-brainer. I excitedly emailed the resolution along with a letter in support of it from the ACLU to our council members and mayor here in Woodbridge Township on December 17th, proudly presenting them with this great opportunity for our diverse, inclusive, and caring community to get on board, but surprisingly never received a reply. I reached out again on January 3rd with good news. Bound Brook had also just passed the resolution, and they did so without the support of their Republican mayor, who callously refused to even sign it, their 2 Republican members of the council who coldly voted against it, and even 1 Democrat council member who cowardly abstained from voting. I want to give a quick shout out, public shout out to Bound Brook Council President Abel Gomez for daring to lead and having the courage and conviction to get his town on the right side of history despite such heartless opposition. Abel also happens to be a Perth Amboy native, and I soon learned we have a few mutual friends, as I've been a health and physical education teacher at E.J. Patton Elementary School in Perth Amboy for about 15 years now. March will make it 15 years. Shout out to my amazing students and colleagues if you're watching this later on, and I'll show you. I've been nervous about this evening all day, to be honest, and I actually confided in one of my 4th graders this morning about why. And they told me that they were very proud of me for being an upstander and not a bystander. And that meant the world to me and reminded me that it's okay to be afraid, but it's not okay to look the other way because we're afraid. From the mouths of babes. On January 9th, I finally received a reply from Mayor McCormick himself. "Please let me know when you have time for a call to discuss your recent email. Thanks." It read. I picked up the phone and called right away, and the mayor's assistant transferred the call to him. The mayor told me that while he agreed with the resolution, Woodbridge Township would not be passing it. He said that it's not a local issue, that Woodbridge has never passed a resolution like this before, and if we were to start now, he'd be pressured to take a stand on all kinds of other issues. And finally, he said that he was worried about how some members of the community would respond if we were to pass this resolution. I explained to him that this is indeed a local issue, as Woodbridge has many undocumented community members who do not feel seen, do not feel safe, and do not feel supported at all right now. The mayor even shared with me that his grandfather from Ireland was here without papers. So that makes me hopeful that he might change his mind and find some more empathy. I also explained to him that not taking a stand simply because we've never done it before is poor and cowardly leadership, to be honest. As the job of leaders should be to move us forward, not take us backward or keep us stuck in the stagnant waters of the status quo. We were all at the very moving Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. ceremony last night at the Woodbridge Community Center, and the main message I hope we all took away from that evening is that his fight is far from over, and we must continue his courageous work of standing up against injustice and effectuating real change. I also explained to the mayor that if we let those who want to keep things the way they've always been stop us from doing what is right and just, then the fight to do better has already been lost. Change can be uncomfortable. Real change usually is, at first. But we must never put our comfort ahead of our fellow human beings' lives. And to those who hear this message tonight and will still disappointingly choose what Dr. King called in his famous letter from a Birmingham jail, which I quote almost verbatim, a negative peace, which is the absence of tension, to a positive peace, which is the presence of justice, who say, I agree with you in the goal you seek, but I cannot agree with your methods of direct action, who paternalistically
Thank you,
believe...
Mr. Dabrowski. The 5 minutes are up.
I will make this copy available to anybody who would like to read it.
Thank you.
Jimmy, why don't you give that to Mr. Mitch?
Any other comments from the public this evening? Thank you.
Good evening. Good evening. My name is Joma Ames. I'm a resident of Woodbridge County. These are comments in support of resolution to reunify migrant families, release them from detention, and afford them due process in immigration proceedings. Thank you, Mayor McCormick and Woodbridge Township Council members for allowing this statement to be read on my behalf in support of today's resolution. My name is Heather Ciciola, and I'm a co-leader of the New Jersey Jewish Coalition for Refugees, to lend voice to the issues related to refugees and asylum seekers across all levels of government. On Father's Day this year, I took a trip to Homestead in Florida with HIAS and other community advocacy groups to participate in a vigil to show support to children living in a detention facility. Seeing a facility like that broke my heart. Seeing from far away the children in the yard as they crossed from one tent structure to another in uniforms and orange baseball hats had a tremendous impact on me. It was beyond heartbreaking. Imagine how dangerous things must be where they are from in order to make the risk of leaving home worthwhile. When they are treated this way through our policies and our detention centers, it behooves us to stand up and say, not in our name. But the reality is that inhumane treatment is happening every day in our name. It is happening at the border where we are taking medication away from children. It is happening in detention centers where we refuse to allow doctors to provide flu shots even when they are free. It is happening when children die alone in a cell from a preventable disease due to neglect and woefully inadequate medical care. And let's not forget that we have our own detention centers funded by ICE right here in New Jersey. All of these things and more are happening on our watch. People often ask me if I think it matters to demonstrate, to meet and correspond with elected officials, and to speak out publicly on these topics. I always say yes, because ultimately we only have two choices: to do something or to do nothing. What that something looks like can be anything, but we all know that what doing nothing looks like. We've seen it in hindsight when we reflect on the greatest shames and horrors in the history of this country and the world. We often look back with regret or with wonder at how people could be silent in the face of such atrocities. With the benefit of that knowledge, it is our responsibility to speak out against inhumane treatment when and where we see it, and to call on our elected officials at all levels to right and prevent the wrongs that we see unfolding every day. To remind them that they work for us and we just won't stand for this. Someday, if we're lucky, someone will ask what we did during these times. This resolution gives you the opportunity to do something that can make you proud when we answer that question. It provides a tiny window to show foresight, courage, empathy, and compassion in speaking out to help ensure that Woodbridge is on the right side of what is happening today. Today, Woodbridge has a chance to go on record and tell the future what your values were, and that you stood up and spoke out in the face of the humanity being perpetrated by our government. I commend the Woodbridge Township Council for considering this step.
and I hope that you see fit to pass this resolution. Thank you again for your time, for your commitment, and for helping to lead the way in New Jersey and the country in demanding a more humane and welcoming world for all. In the name of Heather Ciciola, and also in my name, Joma Ames, and the children of the world. Thank you.
Are there any other comments this evening?
Hi, everyone. Good night. The last time I was here, I introduced myself and I said I was Keisha Dabrowski. I'm Jimmy Dabrowski's wife. I didn't fully introduce myself. I'm also a homeowner in Woodbridge. I'm the mom of a 7-year-old son, and excited that I get to play with him in the parks of Woodbridge. I have a lot of kids always over at my house with play dates, and I'm also a soccer mom. Professionally, I didn't introduce myself because I'm also the Assistant Vice Chancellor of Diversity, Communication, Strategy, and Engagement at Rutgers University. In that capacity, I've had the opportunity, the privilege, to serve over 50,000 students. I have led initiatives in this capacity to help students who are food insecure. I've helped to bring Joe Biden to the university to help support our commitment to ending sexual violence. I've helped to push for more mental health care for our students. I share that to show the impact of the work that I have done, because I fully believe that when you sit in a seat of leadership, you're there to serve and to really support the people that have put you there to serve. But I also share it to share that I was also once an undocumented immigrant to this country. So this issue is very personal. I came to this country from Trinidad and Tobago when I was 8 years old and lived in the shadows until I was 12 years old. So I know what that feels like. It's personal because I would have been one of those little kids who was taken away from my parents. I could not even imagine losing my son and what that must feel like. And I shared what I do now to share with you the impact of all the work that I have done in the time that I've been in this country. And I have receipts to show for it. I am beloved at Rutgers. I am beloved by the alums, by the faculty, by the staff and the students. I have paid for students' textbooks out of my own money. I have had them sleep over by my house. And I have run the gamut of all races, all identities of students to support them. Sorry. The other thing I want to share about myself is I'm a communication expert. I am skilled, highly skilled, in the encoding and decoding of messages. And what your silence about this issue is saying, especially to you, President Elizabeth D'Souza, for this township that was chartered in 1669, it's right there, before slavery ended, is that you would sit back and you would be the ones that would have allowed slavery to happen and not say anything. You would have been the ones who would sit back and let the Holocaust happen, the loss of lives, those gas chambers, and you would not have said nothing. You would have allowed segregation to happen and not say anything. That you would allow the Trail of Tears to happen and not say anything. You would allow the Japanese internment camps to happen and you will not say anything. History repeats itself. I'm an academic. I can tell you that for a fact. This is not an anecdotal thing that I'm saying. And you will sit back and allow that to happen. It's disappointing.
Are there any other comments? Hearing no other comments, can I get a motion that the public portion of this meeting be closed?
Motion.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Going to the agenda.
We are moving now to the agenda portion of our meetings. My agenda is in order, but I would like to make an announcement on number 5, community policing. This week, students from one of our high schools will get a tour of the police department. The college interns for the police department will be taking a tour of the county medical examiner's office. Detectives will be meeting with local hotel and motel owners to discuss crime prevention through environmental design, and the bi-weekly classes with the high schools will continue. The detectives will also be attending an addiction training seminar. That is all that I have on my agenda. Council Vice President Small.
Thank you, Madam President. Number 7 on my agenda, school projects. Go glad to see that Woodbridge Middle School opened 2 weeks ago. I thank the parents, staff, students for being patient. Unfortunately, there's some delays in projects, and this was one of them, but the school is absolutely beautiful, and the wait was worth it, believe me. So I'm happy to say that Woodbridge Middle's open. Number 9, our level playing field over at the Cypress Center is coming along. I pass there every day coming to and from work. It's going to be a beautiful facility, and I think we'd be seeing this summer kids playing on it. And number 14, Mayor Max Cafe. I would urge the public to go over to Mayor Max Cafe. It's open from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Monday through Friday. It's located in our Cypress Center. It's just an incredible place. It makes these kids feel fantastic, and you get a nice lunch too. That's all I have this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Spiller.
Thank you, Council President Jesus. Before I move to my agenda, I'd just like to offer up congratulations to Council Vice President Small and his daughter Amanda, who recently received nationwide recognition from the Nationwide Federation of State Excessive College Associations for her bowling capabilities and bowling coach. She was nominated by the state's Bowling Coaches Affiliation of the New Jersey State Interscholastic Athletic Affiliation, so that is an outstanding award.
Thank you. Very proud.
Good. Thank you. Item number 8, I'm happy to announce the grand opening of Dunkin' Donuts, 898 Route 1 North. People wonder why I get so happy about Dunkin' Donuts. Well, it really transformed that entire property. If you think about it, Dunkin' Donuts is there now. Holiday Inn is there now. Before Holiday Inn, it was just a decrepit Rick Brothers propane distribution center that caught fire in 1992. Remember that, Mr. Mitch? And where Dunkin' Donuts was Woody's Service Apartments, which housed not a very good element that had a contract with the state. It was beat down, and it just continues. The councils, the mayor, the administrations, and redevelopments ideas and promise to continue to redevelop the Route 1 corridor. And hey, I like Dunkin', so good for me. Item number 9, Avenel Fire. On Sunday, January 19th, the Avenel Fire Department responded to a structure fire in Avenel. Upon arrival, heavy smoke and fire were showing in the rear of the structure. Except for a burn on a extremity to the mother of the children, there were no other injuries reported. It is quite remarkable, as the fire was discovered by a 6-year-old Madeline. Madeline woke up coughing, her eyes burning, and heard the smoke detector. She ran downstairs and saw what she called orange fire in the kitchen and went to wake up Mommy. But she could not. Mommy was not waking up. With the fire advancing out of the kitchen towards her, Maddie ran upstairs and woke up Daddy, who couldn't find Maddie in the smoke. The dad then carried Maddie and 2-year-old Hunter out of the house and ran back in and carried their mother out to safety. If not for the quick life-saving actions by a 6-year-old, this fire could have been a much more tragic outcome. Thankfully, everyone is safe thanks to a 6-year-old remembering what she learned during Fire Prevention Week and the knowledge about smoke detectors. Unfortunately, the house is deemed uninhabitable. James, the father, is also an ex-chief, current member, fellow brother of mine at the Avenel Fire Department, and Maddie attends School 23 in Avenel. The Avenel Fire Department is seeking for assistance. If you'd like to drop off clothes or toys, you can do so at the Avenel Fire Department, 346 Avenel Street, Avenel, between the hours of 7:30 and 4. Gift cards are more than welcome, and monetary donations can be made out to the Avenel Fire Company Community Fund, and you can put that to attention myself, Fire Official Corey Spiller, or President Frank Strain. On behalf of the Avenel Fire Department, I would like to thank everyone that has helped out already during this difficult time. God bless the family. God bless the Avenel Fire Department on an incredible job and an awesome job, Maddie. Thank you. The rest of my agenda is in order.
Councilman Anderson.
Thank you, Council President. Item number 1 for WTYRC, I want to announce that Woodbridge Little League will be having their monthly meeting tomorrow at 8 p.m. and that'll be at their complex on Van Buren Street. Item number 2, an education job fair will be held at the Evergreen Center, and that is on this Thursday, January 23rd, from 6 to 7:30 p.m. and this is for the Metuchen YMCA. They are in desperate need for some employees. The positions that they have that are available are welcome center staff, early education lead teachers, early education assistant teachers, before and after school counselors, and CDL bus drivers. If you'd like some more information online, you can go to www.ymcaofmewsa.org. Item number 10, the Dr. Martin Luther King annual event. I thought it was very successful yesterday. Reverend Lawson from First Baptist Church in Seawarren gave a resounding speech last night. And the one thing that I'd like to see more of, I only saw 3 kids under the age of like 14, and we could use more children at these events. I think kids need to come out for this. We made it a little bit earlier, so it was at 6 p.m. So it's a great opportunity. Next year, we have to come up with some ideas to get more kids at there were only 3 boys there, your boy and my 2 boys. Right? We'll come up with some ideas. There was a nice idea presented last night, but I'll leave that up to our Board of Education, Mr. Harris, to look into that and see if that's something possible. The Independent Club of Colonia, I see Mr. Hall here from the Independent Club. They will be holding their annual Black History Month event, and that is on February 23rd at 3 p.m., and that is also at the Evergreen Center at 400 Inman Avenue. Come and hear spoken word, songs, plays, a lot of great talent, and some local history as well. And then afterwards, get fed in soul food style and at no cost to you. Okay? The organization does accept donations, but if you don't have anything, you can come and get a warm meal that night. All right? And that is all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Meehan?
Thank you, Council President. My agenda is in order. As we were talking about Brian Snell and his family, I just want to give a shout out to his daughter, Brielle, who was substituting in School 20 a couple weeks ago, and she noticed that there was a little girl, 5 years old, choking, and she gave her emergency help, and she dislodged what she was choking on and ultimately saved her life. So you have 2 children to be very proud of this group. My agenda is in order. I just want to go down to number 5. We kicked off our Have a Heart food drive on January 1st. It'll continue to February 14th. What we're doing is we're asking businesses and schools and organizations to take the 214 challenge, which means either to donate $214 to the food pantries or donate 214 pounds. We really, during the holidays, everybody thinks about people that are hungry, but it's a continued problem all year long, and we try to do these things in Woodbridge Township so that we can help people that are less fortunate and that are hungry. Also with that is we will be hosting Taste of Colonia. That's on February 6th. It's at the Colonia Country Club. We moved it to Thursday this year. It is from 6 to 9. It's $30 if you purchase the ticket before, or $35 at the door. And this is also coordinated with the Have a Heart food drive. We asked that you bring some food. Last year we were able to donate, I think, over $11,000 to the food banks, and a lot of food. So, as I said, it is a continued problem. If you want tickets, you can reach out to me. My number is 732-382-0273. And that's all I have this evening.
Thank you. Councilman Ficarra?
Thank you, Council President. Just a few announcements. My agenda is pretty much in order. Over at the Community Center, we talked about Have a Heart food drive on February the 8th. They're having a heartthrob workout. That's a Saturday. Different types of workouts: body flow, body pump, body contact, starting at 9. The admission is to bring a non-perishable item to get in there, so you can try out the program and help the Have a Heart food drive program. Again, that's February 8th, starting at 9 o'clock in the morning. The Community Center also during this month, and there's not much of January left, there are special membership offers to waive the joiner's fee. Also, just a reminder, the Community Center, if you have young folks, it's a great place for birthdays between the roller rink and the ice skating rink. You can check us out at njwcc.com, New Jersey Woodbridge Community Center.com. Recycling tip George, you'd be happy for this, but the recycling tip is those plastic bags that you sometimes get at ShopRite or Wegmans. I don't think you get them at Wegmans anymore, but don't put them in recycling, very important. The styrofoam containers we sometimes get takeout food in, don't put them in recycling. They go in regular garbage. Folks, thank you for your passing presentation tonight. That's all I have, Council President.
Thank you. Councilman Patel?
Thank you, Council President. My agenda is also in order, and I have an announcement. India's 71st Republic Day celebration, we will have it on next Sunday. That's January 26th, from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Royal Albert Palace in Ford's. And this event is open to the public, and it's a free event. The program will include the breakfast, the parade, and U.S. and Indian flag hoisting, and the lunch will follow. And again, this is the open to the public event, and it's free. That's all for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Bauer?
Thank you, Council President. Item number 6, Forest Business Community. Forest Business Community is holding their first monthly meeting of the year on Wednesday, January 29th at 6 p.m. at the Liberty Tavern. If any businesses in the Forest area are interested in joining the FBC, please stop by. The FBC considers their duty to help all their businesses succeed and flourish while also giving back to the residents of Forest throughout the year. For more information, contact our President, Anna Lawrence, at 732-742-0621. Item number 7, Forest, Casby, and Hope on Fire Companies. I'd like to congratulate all the fire officers and business officers from Forest, Casby, and Hope on Fire Companies that were sworn in on January 1st. I'd like to also thank all our first responders for all they do for our community every day, and wish everyone a safe and happy New Year. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you. Mr. Mitch?
Thank you, Madam President. Under number 1, letters A and B, I continue to work with the police department on these transfers. I'm going to drop down to number 5, just to make a comment. We're preparing for a special school district referendum election on March the 10th of this year. Polling hours will be between 2 and 8 p.m. at your normal polling location. Ballots will be coming out in the mail for those residents who are signed up for mail-in ballots. They'll automatically go to you unless you've opted out of the automatic program. We'll also be scheduling a demonstration of new voting machines here in Woodbridge. I've opened it up to elected officials here in Woodbridge and then both political parties for their leaderships to come in and try them on February 25th. Last comment, I'll drop down to number 7. Again, I mentioned last time, Mr. Haggerty and I are both co-chairing the efforts for a complete count for this year's census, which is April 1st, 2020. In less than 2 months from now, every resident should start getting notification in their mail about registering for the census. This is the first time it's being done electronically. You'll be able to do it through the internet, which is, I think, pretty advanced. This is pretty good compared to the last census I've been involved in. So again, we're working with, the mayor has appointed, with your consent, a variety of people throughout the community to represent the Latino, the Hispanic, the Indian neighborhoods. The school district is going to be key. I know I mentioned that before, with over 13,000 school district students in the district to get the message home. And one of the ideas, and Mr. Haggerty, I got to give him credit for this, he had asked for, and we received today, sample questionnaires in multiple languages, and we're going to attempt to get them to go home to every student prior to April 1st, so they're well aware of the questions that are on the census. And that's where we lacked the last time, and hopefully we'll gain this year. So that's all I have on this census.
Thank you. Business Administrator Samaluka? Or
Sorry, if I could start, I want to
Yes.
introduce Business Administrator Samaluka. This is his first meeting as the administrator, so I want to congratulate Vito, who's got a 37-year career working for the township, and I'm looking forward to working with him in the next several years in Woodbridge Township. If I could also, today was the State of the Township address. I appreciate everybody who came out for it. We laid out several minutes of what's been going on in Woodbridge the past year, and most of it toward what's happening in the future. If I could just have a quick commercial for the March 10th referendum. We'll be talking about that a lot in the next 7 weeks. It will be a vote that Tuesday from 2 to 8 where you normally vote. It will be on an $87 million referendum that will include, among other things, brand new Avenel School 4 and 5 on Rahway Avenue in Avenel on the site of the premier die-cast plant. It will include a major expansion of Lafayette Estates School 25, 11 new classrooms and a gym, a major expansion of School 28 in Seawarren, I think 8 classrooms and a gym. There's 2 schools that have separate pods, 22 in Lincrest and Colonia and 24 Kennedy Park in Island. They will all be connected. Every middle school will get a STEM lab, except Woodbridge Middle, which already has it. Every middle school will get wired for air conditioning, except Woodbridge Middle School, which obviously has it. A lot of other work like boilers and tiles and things like that in all the schools. And most importantly, there's a significant commitment to school security. I think the number is just short of $200,000 in each of the schools that will be committed for school security. The best news is just like the field projects from 2013 to 17, which were paid for by warehouse projects and the power plant that was built, and just like the 2017 referendum, which was paid for by the downtown development projects, neither one of them were paid for by taxpayers. This also will not be paid for by taxpayers. There is 1 million square foot warehouse on the site of the Woodbridge Developmental Center, which closed back in 2014. We purchased that from the state and closed this past June for $5 million. We also purchased a piece of property from Conrail for $2 million. We are now selling those to the Morris Companies, which is a company we chose after 16 companies competed for the right to purchase that property and construct the warehouse. So they will give us a sizable amount of money for those parcels, and then the taxes we'll collect on it will start at $2 million when they open and increase every year until it gets to the 30th year when it will be $4 million. So it's a total of about $90 million that will come in taxes. That one project will pay the entire referendum, so there will be no property tax increase to the residents of Woodbridge Township because of this work. Nobody can say my taxes went up because of this work, because as the money comes in from the project, the debt service on the referendum will come in and it will be covered. So it's a great thing for Woodbridge Township. We've already been to 4 schools. I think there's a meeting tonight at one of the schools, and the board members and council members and Dr. Zaga and myself are hitting every school. We're hitting all the senior clubs, the senior centers, any place else we can, any business group, you name it, we'll go out and talk about it and let people know why they should support this. 3 years ago, the referendum passed 4.5 to 1. It was about 3,600 to about 800. I expect this one should be as popular. There's really not much reason for people to be against $87 million worth of projects essentially for free, but I appreciate your support. That is the big effort of the next 7 weeks, and then after that, of course, we'll get into the engineering and architecting and then start the construction. But it's terrific for the township. It's terrific for our students and teachers. It's terrific for our property taxpayers, and it's terrific for the property values of those taxpayers. Because when you live near a school that is improved and enhanced and brand new, or has a new addition or new everything, it just makes that the house that you own more valuable because people want to live in those houses. We're seeing the impact now all over town on real estate values. So we have 7 weeks to make sure we get this passed. I thank you all for your support. And now we'll turn it over for the first time in public, Business Administrator Vito Samaluka.
Thank you, Mayor McCormick. I want to thank the mayor for his confidence along with the council and their confidence in me. I promise to work hard in my new duties and look forward to working with you all. I would like to congratulate the president and vice president in new roles, and I look forward to an exciting year this year. So with that, on to business. We have an award of a bid for mulch and topsoil. We have a change order for an Elgin Pelican street sweeper. We have a change order for 2 F-350 pickup trucks chassis. We have a resolution executing the HDSRF grant application, and we have a revised MOU with the New Jersey DEP for the Blue Acres acquisitions. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you. Director Hubner?
Thank you, Council President.
Mr. Bujalski?
Nothing this evening, thank you.
Thank you. Director Darden?
Thank you, Council President. Nothing this evening.
Director Brew?
Thank you, Council President. I have a few items for resolution tonight. The first one is agreement with the county for pedestrian flashing beacon at the Port Reading Avenue and Daniel Street intersection. The second one we have is a 2019 recycling tonnage grant. And the third one is a renewal of a shared service agreement with the Borough of Sayreville for public works services. That's all on my agenda. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you.
Council President.
Thank you.
Need a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
Meeting adjourned.